I'm Dan Lutz, and welcome back to our broadcast. Tank will be here. Of course, I got to send him the link. Got a false start here. I don't know what happened, but my whole browser and everything froze. And so I had to shut the whole thing and relaunch. So if you, hopefully everyone makes it back over to the broadcast from there. We are, having occasional technical difficulties. Things are all set up, and then all of a sudden, not working. Now, of course, we are causing a lot of feedback thing there. So let's see. I just sent Tank oh, actually, Tank, are you online right now?
I am.
Ah, good. All right, the Galactic Unicorn has joined. I'm sorry, I'm on other screens moving things around. Glad that you could make it, and welcome. So this is when we had a false start here. I don't know if you were on before I got back or what happened, because I know I sent you the link and then everything froze on me.
Well, nice recovery. I mean, you only it's 9:05. It's doing great.
Yeah, just got another one out of the park. There we go. As a throw the curveballs and still keep going. All right. So how are things with you today?
I'm a little anxious, to be honest. I really think I expected us to be through this right now, and based on some things that are still operational, I'm having a hard time getting updates, which is a little frustrating. Which I'm sure it's very frustrating for other people all the time who go through that, but I usually get updates right away. So when I don't, that's it's tough. So I'm kind of hanging here in limbo with everybody else, waiting for the instructions on the next step.
Yeah.
Well, we're on the verge of the change. There's no question. We know, we know that Kim has broken through at the teller level. Thomas was very confident last night as he was rightfully, what I would say, rightfully and righteously discussing and kind of going after all of the government officials, all of the cabal, all of these different characters who've held the world hostage because they refused to compromise. And he was basically just saying that that we've streamlined things and now we're going to go, and we're going, and you're not going to know when, and it's going to be at any moment. And and he said he's not going to say a week, he's not going to say a month, but I mean that would be absolutely ridiculous to wait a month at this point. The world is on the verge of economic collapse, and the funny part is that the actual plan, this is the plan that was put in place that has happened before, is that they would crash the entire economy. Everything would crash. And when that happens, they would buy back everything at pennies on the dollar.
Yeah, Napoleon at Waterloo losing, and then the Rothschilds buying up everything because they pretended that England lost, and they sold, and as they crashed the market, then they said, okay, you go over there, start buying. Yeah, we're selling. Yeah, you go. So they acquired all of everything. They bought the crown of England.
Yeah, that is right.
Right, pennies on the dollar, because they convinced the monarchy, hey, how you can finance your wars is you incorporate.
Yeah.
Give up your sovereignty into a corporation. That's the way to do it.
Oh my gosh, just thinking about that makes me sick to my stomach. So just thinking about
the first thing to solve the problem is identify it.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. Yeah. That's the fast way to do it. So yeah, so I realized after I spoke to a veteran today, and really the most impressive and comprehensive discussion I have ever had with anyone, and I've spoken to hundreds of people about these things, right? Lawyers and people who are sovereign, nationalists and all types of people, part of the sovereign kind of movement, right? And he was just breaking down the simplicity of how to, really beat the banking system, what a sham it is, right? How and I, for the life of me, I thought I had it written right here. But I mean, Dan, you probably know what it is. When you go into court and you basically, what you say to the court is you are demanding that whatever the warrant is that they have for you, that you're demanding that they use the bond that they brought in for it, right? And it was very specific language he used. It was excellent. So, but that language, right, to stand there in the face of the court, and then they start scrambling around, as you make this demand, and then you do it again. He said, right? He goes, and they're gonna play dumb. He said, but eventually they have to accept that because you know the law, right? You
Are,
realize,
are you looking for accept as value? Accept for value that you'll accept it as value and you'll sign off on the bond.
yeah, that is what it is. Yep.
Okay, so
But
and
I felt like he said something different, but maybe that's what it was. Yeah.
I mean, there's so many of these tactics that are used because people have learned enough about the system that they could challenge it when it's basically erroneously taking you into this ship that's not on the ocean and demanding you to act like you're on the ocean under maritime law. And you would say, I'm not on the ocean, and I am not recognizing that I'm on the ocean, and nor am I. But you say that this piece of paper is saying that I'm on the ocean. I'll accept it for value, and you sign off on it by basically the back of the bond. You're signing it like you would sign a check.
Right.
And in essence, the court in that moment then has the ability to create cash out of that document that you sign, which is all they're looking for anyway, and bringing you into court, right?
Yep.
Is to get cash.
That's right.
It's just a parasite. You stepped on flypaper, and now how you get it off in the easiest way.
Right. So you know, so that was the other thing he said, right? That before you cross that line, that you make it clear, I do not accept. I do not accept it. I do not accept this. I'm not coming on. I'm not boarding this willingly.
Yeah,
You're forcing me against my will. I do not
I'm
accept.
under duress. You're forcing me under duress, under fire, under threat of violence to my being, and you're forcing me into this position.
Right.
So
Now,
again, recognizing the problem is the first part of solution. But the thing is they keep changing the rules, right? They figure out what people are doing against them, and they find a nuance in their legal framework to maneuver everyone, or they'll change a law somewhere to basically, make what everyone's doing not in effect work anymore. And
actually, they cannot change the laws of the republic. So
sure,
even though they come up with ways to mess with people's minds about it, right? And they'll come up with new ways to try to hurt people.
I misspoke. When I said
Ah,
laws, yeah, I meant statutes.
yes. Well said.
Yeah, so those little annoying little things that they decide that they're going to change how they're going to cook the French fries, and they're going to change the beeper time, and they're going to move the beeper around, and all the things that they're going to do to make it a new system that you have to learn in order to basically get out of the sticky fly paper that they put down, and you stepped in.
Right, exactly. So the so I'm gonna post this on the Speak Project and I'll send it to Dan. And I highly recommend everyone follow this example. This is 5 US code 3331. It is the oath of office. Right. So you've definitely heard this before. And this is really important to know because this blew my mind today, and I should know this, but I couldn't. I don't know. It just never clicked, and I realized it today. I'm like, oh my gosh, right?
You sent it to me?
What?
Did you send it
What's
to
that?
me? You said you're
No,
sending.
not yet. I will send it to you though. I will send it to you. Hang on 1 second. So I'm gonna share what it is first. So the second practice this gentleman shared with me, who, I mean, this guy was just like a soldier. I mean, really stout, but very professional and really well spoken, and so strong about it. And just the way I feel about it, to be honest, very um, fired up. Like, how dare you? How dare you try to impose this? So I knew that the United Nations is not allowed to have their military personnel or their military attack vehicles, their assault vehicles any on U.S. soil, right? But I've seen them, and I've seen them in the police forces, right? And the reason why how I know that's a United Nations attack vehicle is because one time when Kim was actually checking artifacts in one of the mountains in Arizona, oh no, maybe yeah, I think that's what it was. Uh, UN attack vehicles swarmed in on her with a helicopter to kill her, right? And she stopped them, right? But she photographed it first and showed it to me. And then I remember one day across the street from my house, the exact same type of vehicle was parked, but it said like Nassau County SWAT, right? And I couldn't and I've always heard about this, right? We always talk about this, right? That the police forces have been militarized, right? And you go to Penn Station here in New York, and you'll see lots of AK-47s and M16s. The guys are just that soldiers are carrying around all over the place, right? And police officers, which is a bit excessive, for a subway stop. So I knew that, right? I knew that was happening, but I guess I just thought, even I thought like, but they're the cops,
It was just thinking about you said a bit excessive. Everything they do is to promote fear of them. Is they do excessive, like what they did with Roger Stone, right? There's no issue. He wasn't running around. He's been engaged in the legal battle already. They're going to show up at his house to arrest him when he would have been able to walk in and be arrested anytime they set up a meeting for him, right? No, they want to make a show of it. They want to basically make it a spectacle. And I even had an assistant of mine. She was a raw foodie. I mean, she only raw foods, and she had there was a raw food co-op. It's a cooperative where they'd be able to buy raw milk, raw eggs, raw grains, whatever they were selling there. Now, if you can imagine a most non-violent group, right?
Yeah, right, exactly.
It would be, it tends to imagine this group, them swarming in with the SWAT teams and putting people under a rifle, right? An automatic weapon, because they had unpasteurized milk.
Thank God they were stopped dead in their tracks
No.
before that unpasteurized milk got out of hand.
Yeah.
All those probiotics.
Yeah, they had no hormones in the milk. No, all this is pure source of real nutrition. Now that is the threat to them. Nutritional food is a threat to them, and that's the level at which they'll go to. I mean, believe it or not.
So yeah, I mean, it's incredible, right? So, anyways, he pulls this out and he says, so this is the U.S. code 331 oath of office, right? An individual except the president elected or appointed to an office of honor or profit in the civil service or uniformed services shall take the following oath. I, AB, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which I am about to enter. So help me God. Now, think about that oath, right? It's really powerful. So everyone has to take that oath and then sign it who's in the government service, right? Who's in the government employ. And if they do not have that recorded oath, that's because they are not a government employee. all of the police departments, he told me, he goes, if you get pulled over, he said, roll down your windows, put your hands on your steering wheel, right? And when they walk up to the car, you say, good evening, officer. Before we get started, I just want you to know that I do not consent to being pulled over right now. That's the first thing. And I would like you to produce your oath of office because you are carrying a firearm and I do not know who you are. Right? And I am under duress, just like Dan said. And I am under duress. I am scared for my life. Which, by the way, you should be, right? Because these are mercenaries essentially at the end of the day who have, think about it, who are they harassing? They're not arresting criminals like, people who are sacrificing kids because they have money, right? What they're doing is they're harassing people who don't have money.
And I'd also like to point out that this may have been the same police officer that's been in the area for the last 30 years, right? And there was a change in the office. They didn't inform them of anything, and they may have been just absorbed into it. They may not even know themselves the law. They may not know that. Oh, and they may say, "Well, my oath of office, was for this police department." Well, but that police department doesn't exist anymore because it was absorbed by a corporate system. They're trying to remove the people's that they have as their police force. Remove the things that stop them from engaging the people as an enemy. And this would be one of them, remove the oath of office. So a lot of them won't even know the situation.
No. If they have an oath of office, they would have the right to pull you over, and that would be justified because they have to uphold the Constitution. But they haven't taken an oath of office.
Well, no, what I'm saying though is at a certain point that switched, and I don't think that happened 30 years ago. I think this is something that has happened in the last decade, maybe in the last 15 years, where they started taking over the police departments. I knew about this issue back then, and I think it was could have been in the early 90s, something like that. I've heard some things about that. And I believe some of the sheriff's departments, which are not part of this militarized system, the sheriff's department are separate. They were actually making us think about it. So, but I'm just saying, some of them don't even know that they had an oath of office, but it's no longer the police department that they were hired under. They were rehired under another entity that it sounded like the same police department. They changed one word or moved the words around, what the police department is, the new Valley Police Department, whatever, whatever they decided to do, there was no oath of office, but they put them through training on how they should work to subdue the citizens in times of emergency. All right, because they were finding out that the military and police departments were not on board with their agenda when they needed to subject the whole populace to the boot. They found that they couldn't rely on the military or the police departments, and so they had taken a big operation to sway that. So yeah, I'm sure the new officers coming in have never seen an oath of office. but it's an interesting tactic and all these are tactics. I mean, there's been so many tactics that have been there from. I've been watching this since I was 16 years old, and trying to analyze and figure out and how to walk the line. I mean, because what we're really dealing with is it's like it's a big bear. If you're going to poke the bear, you better be prepared to get swatted. And in this case, it does mean swatted. Bring the SWAT team down on you. So, not
That is the truth.
not to do it, but just realize and learn what you need to learn. Whether it is TDA accounts, and attaching your PayPal account to that. It's great if you want to know that it's really there and prove it to yourself, like I did, but I didn't want to use it. And dismantle it afterwards, because it's not worth poking the bear if you're going to end up in jail, right?
That's true.
If you're
well, look.
I mean, at some point it is, where you have to make a stand for yourself, and some people get into that position, and they're going to make a go at it, and I applaud those. These are heroes. I know those people. I know. There's a recent one. He actually won. He won. He didn't. I mean, afterwards he did not. He's out of jail, fought in court, and won. So it's not that it's impossible to do, but it is a major life undertaking that you have to do.
Well, let's clarify though for a second, because I think this is important, and I'll tell you what, I don't want anyone to think to be afraid or anything, or even have that cross their mind who happens to see this in the future. So let me be clear. I've been picking fights with all these guys for a while, right? And I'll tell you, the reason why is I'm not breaking any laws. I'm not doing anything except actually looking at the rights that I have, and then I'm looking to the legal authority, or who I thought was the legal authority, to enforce those laws. Now, what we discover is, for the most part, there is no legal authority anymore. So you really have to. This is why the sovereignty agreement that Kim has proposed is so important, because the United States of America, which I guess should be the
Republic.
It should be the Republic of the United States of America, or for America, right? I think it's how it's supposed to be phrased, because I get corrected on that, and I'm sorry to the people who are smarter about this than I am. I'm really trying, I promise. But here's the thing: is that if you think about it, right? We're in this incredible moment in history where the UCC guidelines and codes, they are not legally enforced anymore. The only thing that keeps them enforced is your signature, right? It's our signature. When we sign it, we give it power, right? When you sign a promissory note, right, for like your car, well, the promissory note goes to the bank. Then the bank takes your signature and they use it to pay off your car using, I don't know if it's the birth certificate. I don't know. I mean, as far as I know, those aren't working anymore, but that's the traditional way, right?
Yeah.
So this is being and then on top of that, we sign a lease agreement to lease the car back from ourselves, right? So it's like, so they're hitting us twice, right? And then the same is true with the house. With the houses, right? They paid off with your money, and then they turn right back around and they charge you, based on a contract agreement. So if all of their contracts are up, right? Their contracts that they conned us into, to signing, then that means for the first time ever, we can actually challenge them, right? We could challenge these contracts and say, I do not accept the agreements of these terms anymore. I do not agree to them, and therefore, I will not be part of this, right? And then by taking that stand, imagine. So this oath of office this gentleman, I'm going to actually make a list of everything he told me, right? Because it was so powerful. And he told me how they pulled him over. Now he has a CDL license, right? So he was telling me how the roads are bought and paid for with our tax dollars from the tires that we buy and the gas that we buy, right? So the taxes on those items they pay for the Department of Transportation. Now the Department of Transportation is the one that governs the roads. So if they are not have not taken the oath of office required by the Department of the Treasury, I'm sorry, the Department of Transportation, then they are not legally allowed to pull you over without specific warrant or something like that, right? And so I'm just thinking about all these things. Like, so in this, is it possible or is it dangerous? Is my question, Dan, to you. Is it possible that if you had thousands of people, all at the same time, who just started taking a stand like that?
And what about millions of people, like with the TDA accounts that they access PayPal? Millions of people, and people have used them and no repercussions, right? But others had repercussions. People paid off their electricity bill, right? And had it wiped out, right? Now, it cannot happen in the way the system works, is that unless there's money there to pay,
right?
And it is your social security number you're attaching to this ACH system. The ACH system only works in one direction. It only goes from this point to this point if this exists and this exists, and there's money here to move to here. There's no, if this does not exist and this does not exist, cannot happen. If there's no money here, it cannot happen. But if you move the funds from here to here, it's finished. There is nothing else in law that they can do to reverse it. There is no reverse. But they were being told it was being reversed. It wasn't
Right.
being
They're just
reversed, it
stealing
was
it.
being absorbed. They were sending the money to another account, which,
Right.
according to Heather Antucci Jafar, was that there was a this was an ultimate psyop by the cabal. The whole attachment of the TDAs to the PayPal accounts was just give the information out on purpose so people can figure it out, and then, well, when people go and do that, they'll reverse it, was because they were going to be able to suck up all that money because they were out of money. And they have no
Wow.
more access to those accounts, to the TDAs. They've been cut out. So
So basically,
ultimately,
what? Oh my gosh! I just put that. That's amazing. Yeah, of course. So Kim had them cut off,
yeah,
and that's why they did it. Wow, that is brilliant.
yeah,
Okay.
it was brilliant.
Man,
Big psyop to convince people to use their TDAs directly and then absorb it into another slush fund. Because well, according to OPPT, they had broke up the big account where they were holding all the money, right, and had to go back onto the individual Social Security account, Treasury accounts, right? It's in each individual. So all the money was now sitting there. How can they get it now? Well, if the people that had it, they're coming back at me. If they're the ones that had that access to it, and they moved it from there, and they stole it from over there through fear, hey, you're not allowed to do that. They were able to access it. Now, now, according to Heather, she was doing participating in a sting operation, right? So again, she was not part of the transaction, right? That she's in jail for, right? She was just helping the Russell. Was it Russell? I forgot the guy's name. It was Randy.
well,
I forgot his name.
yeah, yeah, Randy.
Randy.
That's the guy who went through. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the guy who used it and got a mobile home and a bunch of CDs. You see, he put some CDs in his own name and so on and so on. So he moved to his friends, and now she was helping him. Now, how'd she end up in jail? She wasn't doing it, right?
Yeah.
But
You're right.
they made her the example of this. Now, maybe she did it number one because it would stop people from doing it, and because she's in jail. So again, she fell on the sword. And as she said, she was being moved from prison to prison to prison to prison to prison, and wherever she would go, the people that were in that prison that were part of, they say the sovereignty movement or the patriots or the tax protesters who are in solitary confinement because they're so dangerous. These people are so dangerous. They put them all in solitary confinement. So they took them out of solitary and put them in the room with her. So the way she was expressing that was that they were doing it for the purpose of the the white hats, in this, that were trying to inform the people in the prisons of what had transpired. So it's part of the war game, that was going on. Now, eventually, they got her to Tennessee and threw her into the threw her into prison, and so there she is. Now, I don't know where it goes from here, but this was the way she expressed it. She laid this out. She said she was part of the sting operation because they had to come out of the woodwork to get her. So they had to say, well, who was the one that gave the order for her to be picked up? Well, she went, to Washington D.C., advertised it, went up to the Secret Service, gave them her passport, and said, "Run my passport." And oh, by the way, I'm staying at the Trump Hotel. That's where I'm staying.
Right. Right.
And made a big show of it, and they picked her up. So those people that had to give the order for that to happen had to show up on the radar. So now who are the black cats in this? They exposed themselves. So thank you, Heather, for everything that you've done. On this. Not this is it's not an easy position to be in when you're going to take on the bear, right? You're going to be, it's you're a hero, really. The people that are out there fighting this, for the people that don't even know that the fight is going on, they're asleep. They don't even know. They're literally dead in regards to the law, right? Because when you were born and your birth certificate entity was created, and it's for your benefit, and your parents give the authority to the state to manage it. If you, as a child, within 7 years, do not let them know that you're not lost at sea, because this is an ocean going vessel and off you go. And if you don't inform them that you're still alive and you're in control, of course, you're 7 years old. Are you going to inform them? No. You're in the sandbox, playing with your friends. Right? And when you're and while you're lost at sea, they're managing it as though it's a dead estate. So you're literally dead, but they're using your asset, and that's why they manage it, and they put it into bundles, and companies are basically doing projects against your asset.
Wow. Well, it's fascinating.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So, but I guess it's fascinating, right? So this goes to um, various forces working, towards the same goal, and essentially kind of opposing each other in a sense, right? So, I'm because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's like now that I'm on the other side of it, and I realize, oh, it's Kim that shut that down because she knew they were just going to steal it each time, right?
Yes.
Now,
Without access, they had to find another way, and this is where now I do not believe that Heather was doing anything other than what she thought was right, and people that are against OPPT or that's, you may have your reasons, but I see that they forged a path, right? Maybe it dead ends, but they were also, that was one front in the battle. A lot of people out there that are trying to their best to move forward, and they get shut down and they end up in prison. And and I also know someone who was never brought to trial for 3 years. They moved him prison to prison to prison, and never ever got to trial, just to punish him, just to punish him.
wow.
Right? He was part of the system, part of their hierarchy, right? And it was just part of of how they punish people. My other friend who was in the CIA, he was made invisible, right? No social security, no bank accounts. All the money that was there was gone, so his whole retirement vanished. Again, for not for going against them, right? They could have both ended up dead, but they were actually still left to be alive. So,
Well, yeah.
but these people are, maybe they were intending on fighting a battle, right, for the greater good. They were only using the what their knowledge was is to, make money in the system that was not authorized. So that's their punishment. So everyone gets too close to the middle of this can end up getting hurt. So this is something that is it's a war, and it's been brewing for a long time. Kennedy went up against it, right? So Reagan went up against it. Now we have Trump going up against it. And so
Well,
this is just different fronts in this battle because it's from behind the scenes, and it's not in the newspapers because the newspapers are owned by the cabal. It's not on TV because the TV is owned by the cabal. It's only when we talk people to people that we're able to get out the information. All of this is coming to a head because they've designed the system to crash, and I'm hoping that it doesn't crash, meaning that Trump is able to stabilize it enough to create a soft landing for most people. And if we're able through the trust to run projects and bring money out into the world, into the hands of the people, we can transition from that old system to a new abundance-based world. We don't need that slavery, but we also have to realize that those people that are in the system, they don't even know, to the extent at which they're in the battle. They're compartmentalized, right? They're all doing their job, and they don't, and maybe they're not even in agreement with it, but it's paying their bills, right? So even from that basic point, they're going to need their bills paid. They keep doing what they're doing. They're going to pull people over on the side of the road as if they're have the authority to do so legally. But they don't. They don't take the oath of office. How many of them don't know the legal position that they are in?
hmm.
But either way, they may be uh, um, informed by you stating this. Can I see your oath of office? They might think, oh, wait a minute, I never took an oath of office. They might not even be aware. Now, some of them probably are aware. I think I remember this was also maybe 10 years ago, this popped up. There were people that scored too high on an intelligence, an IQ test, and they were precluded from joining the police department.
Oh my gosh.
If you're too smart, you can't join.
That is, yeah.
Yeah,
I would hesitate to. I would
good.
hesitate to say that even on the air, just because I don't want cops harassing me. Because you know, so I do not accept Dan's statement to all the police officers out there in my
I
neighborhood.
think the police officers have also realized this, also that they're not letting smartest people in, and I don't know what that level is. Maybe it's above 110 and IQ. You know, the 100 is the average. I don't know what that level is, but that was something that was going around. There were people being denied because they were too smart. Why would they? Why they don't want smart people? Maybe because they can figure out what's going on.
Yep, yep. You know, it's crazy. When I was 18, I didn't pay one ticket for my inspection sticker while I was in college, right? Because the ticket came home and I was in college, and so my license got suspended. So I'm driving home from college. I get pulled over, and I get arrested, like handcuffed. You know, I got strip searched, right? And then so that was just on the town next to mine. Over the next 2 years, I got arrested in every single county from my hometown to where I went to college, because back then they weren't communicating. So even though I had rectified the situation, because each county took advantage of me. I mean, and it was a ton of money when I was a kid. I mean, I think I spent like
Yeah.
$4,000 in tickets, and it crippled me. I mean, it crippled me in college.
Yeah.
And I was, to this day, I won't be in the house without shoes on, because when you go into these jail cells in these little towns, they take your shoes. So whenever I have my shoes off in the house, I feel like I'm a prisoner. So I'm traumatized by it.
Oh, maybe you need to get some new carpeting.
Maybe, yeah. But
It's plush, really plush, where your toes want to dig into it or something. Well, it's amazing how they traumatize the population. And money is one of the biggest way. They wring as much money out of you as possible.
right.
So,
So,
you know,
but I will say, you know, I mean, this little piece of paper, I'm gonna put it out with exactly what to say. Now, Dan, you're gonna love this, and this is gonna be an app we're gonna develop, and I've actually already developed this app, and it's going to be an app and a better version of a device. It'll go on your phone. It'll it'll be just like the way that you have your navigation where you set your phone, but it'll be easy to as soon as you lock it into place, it'll activate an app, right? And what it'll do is you turn the phone as soon as you get pulled over by the police, and you direct it towards so it can see your face and the officer, right? And as soon as it hits that switch, it immediately begins to broadcast live. No matter what happens from that point on, it's being broadcast live. Okay. We have a whole TV station just based on that, right? It's broadcasting live every time someone gets pulled over, and you go through. And this is my big protest. I'm going to set this app up, and everyone says the same thing. They do not agree to being pulled over, right? They do not consent to it. We'll have it all written out on a piece of paper.
well,
It'll
no,
come with the device.
just have the app state it for you.
Yes.
Read it aloud.
Right.
And in a very clear voice. And it could be actually someone who is say a lawyer or a judge. From a certain that is basically stating it, right. I am the judge, and I'm stating this for this person, this man, woman.
Yes.
That some
That is an
phones. that where and everything is now being recorded, and yeah, and it's being broadcast.
Right. And it is being broadcast live. Now imagine every time someone gets pulled over, it it's and it wouldn't even say that until the officer was close enough to hear it. Right. Officer walks up to the car. Now you have an armed man approaching the car. All the windows are down, lights are on, your hands on the steering wheel, right? And this states this for you. And now it's being broadcast live. I'll bet you police related violence would decrease overnight by almost down to zero. Almost down to zero.
Yeah, integrated into an alarm system on the car, so that the car is now, recording video and audio, and broadcasting it out. So that
Absolutely. Look, I know people think the best way to stay safe is to hide. It's the opposite.
right.
It's the opposite. The safest place to be is in the public eye. The
Well,
safest place to be.
it's almost at this point there is no way to hide anymore, because they've already situated things so that they can take over, as a military occupying force, using the police forces and the SWAT environment that they've created with all this military hardware. So they're set and ready to go without your knowledge, without you knowing that they've done this. Of course, certain people who caught it and spoke up about it. Yeah, there's people around, and then they're just going to stand back and say, "See, I told you so." Right? But that doesn't do anyone any good. Everyone's going to be pushed into a situation where they have to have the information. We have to have the ability to literally in unison fight back. So an app like this is perfect, to put on things. But keep in mind that the app may not be allowed to be put on your phone directly, so you're going to have to install it through unusual means, meaning that it's not coming through the Play Store or the iOS store. It's gonna have to go to a website and be downloaded directly on your phone, and you're gonna have to maybe jailbreak your phone to get these apps installed, because they will preclude them from working, right? Because
Yep.
they
Nope.
don't want the people to have these abilities. Anything that they judge, they stopped. If you're making a QAnon related app and stuff like that, they've stopped them from being able to be put out through the Play Store and iOS. So, but people find their way around, right? And it's even on for the Kringle Society, right? We have an app. The app is installed, and by not directly. You have to go through another um, another process to install it, right? So we have to, we can work around things, right? But to do this in unison across the board, we need to be able to take action. That means beyond just listening to us on a video, right? Is you actually taking action, such as sharing this video, even if you shared it before, share it every single day. Share it every day that you're watching a new one, just go ahead and share it and pound the like. We have 137 people watching right now, 41 likes. We should have 130 likes. Come on, people out there, pound the like. Get that information up, and then broadcast this. These are these small things that we can do, that to help get the information out, and it's the only way to do it. Is for us to pull together, and these are the things where you have to take some action, right? And it's and you know, yeah, I'm sure when our projects are launched and we have the money to do X, Y, and Z, we're making the plans for when that's going to happen. Don't wait. Do the small things right now. Do the biggest things that you can. Start your project, on your own in the smallest possible steps. So
Absolutely. Hey, you know what? I'll say something else. While we're on this topic, now I've already got that um, app in the works, and what I'm working on is the switch to make sure that it activates when you turn it right. Now we got to add that piece though, Dan, because I think it's a great idea, right? To have it announced, but I'm looking for a simple way to do it first, right? Because I'm serious about it. Because people need to have things that protect them. Now, here's the next thing. Um, we're definitely going to launch the Speak Project, right? As a broadcast network, right? We need Truth Media. We can hook it up with yours as well, right?
Sure.
And you talked about having somebody that we could potentially um, work with to buy a network, right?
Right.
So here's what we're gonna do. I'm going to launch a campaign, and it's going to have to move through word of mouth, right? In addition to, we'll put out the basic things, and once they catch on to what we're doing, they're gonna blow it up, right? They're gonna try to stop us from doing this. And I'm telling you, this is gonna be so strong, no one will be able to stop it. It'll create such a flush of positive energy all over the planet. And so here's what we're gonna do. I've got all these designs for these, make America great again. Fitted hats, like really like nice, high quality, not the same, generic things that are out there, but really high quality stuff, high shirts, but things that are tasteful, respectful, right? And and very very nice. Right now, there's all these false affiliations, right? Like somebody told me yesterday, like, well, it's got a KKK affiliation. I'm like, are you kidding me? Making America, where we live, great, which means really good again. How on earth could that have a Ku Klux Klan affiliation, right? So that ignorance has got to stop. So what I am working on is I have a brief landing page that educates on things going on, like brief things that we talk about, right? And we're gonna sell hats, t-shirts, something like that. I mean, a few things, right, that we have designed, and we're going to use that. And every single dime spent and raised will be completely transparent. And every dime of that, we're going to go to set up our own network that will always be about the truth, right? And it'll be a network where people can go and they know every time they go there, they will get the truth. Now, I have no idea how much money that's going to actually take, so I'm trying to figure it out. But it is so essential that the truth is going out in a larger volume, right? It has to be put out not just through YouTube and through back channels and hidden secrets and like at Thanksgiving dinner, your one like crazy cousin who you talk about conspiracies with. We have got to mainstream this and wake people up, right? We've got to really talk about real issues because this isn't conspiracy. This is the law, right? And you can test it. You can go to your local police department and you can ask them, could we please see your oath of office to verify that you are government employees? Can you imagine? And can you imagine if they don't have it? Because they don't.
I mean, the other thing, yeah, walking into the police departments and asking them directly, not waiting to get pulled over,
Yeah.
really taking the journey to these buildings, walking in and asking, we'd like to see everyone's oath of office here to see that you're really our police department.
Yeah. You can flash your badge. I'll make those up too. I'll sell badges that say I represent the people or something. Because we do have to have some. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. I'll talk to Sheriff Roy Lamb. He's one of our guys who's a real sheriff, right? He actually does represent the people, right?
Right.
I'll talk to Sheriff.
Well, the sheriff can deputize people.
Ah, I knew it. I'm going to be knighted in Fiji and deputized in Illinois. Make this happen.
So it's about taking power onto ourselves, right? We're talking about waking up, the Great Awakening. We're talking about being sovereign. We're talking about are we acting for ourselves, not waiting for someone to come and fix everything for us. We're not children. Stop acting like children. Take responsibility. Take action. Be sure to share this video, like it, make positive comments. So take action. Do things. Yeah, I know you did it once before. Okay, yeah, great. Thank you. Do it again and again and again and again. And every day do it.
You know what? And here's some other action. Look, I'm telling you, I'm very focused on us taking action. Everybody taking real action. Here's another piece of action I can really use help with. Anybody who knows a real sheriff, like what Dan is talking about, someone who's actually has an oath of office, and if they're actually able to deputize people, tell them that we have thousands of deputies who would like to sign up, who would like to be deputized, so that they can speak with the authority, that kind of authority. Because I think that'd be great, right? You have all types of deputies, right? And all of a sudden you have people with real power. I mean, that's great. I mean, I got to find out how that works.
Here's another idea for you. So on the app, right, where they're now been deputized. It is deputized in live video session, recorded, right, recorded on the phone, and you can say, well, here's my oath of office taken, and now, or here's my deputization happening, right, on video. See, I've been deputized by this sheriff. You can check with the sheriff. Actually, you could call him here across. Bing.
Right. And not only that, but you turn around and say, now I would like to see your oath of office, because as far as I can tell, you're breaking the law.
Yeah.
If you don't have one, right? Now you've completely flipped the script on them. Now imagine that blowing up. Oh my goodness, this is beautiful. See, this is how this kind of thing might seem radical, but it's not. This country, the power of the government is given to them by the governed, right? Right now, we have a corporation that has taken is conducted a hostile takeover of our country.
Right.
And for the first time ever, there's an offer for sovereignty for the entire country from the sole sovereign, as recognized by Fiji, right? And others, by the way. And she is the highest authority on the planet. And she's saying, look, if you want to be sovereign, here it is. Take it.
Let's look at this at a little bit as a different scenario. Let's just talk about corporate raiders and corporate takeovers, or however you want to look at it. Let's say this corporation, it was set up to basically rule the world through positive means, right? Let's say we'll call it the United Nations. It was incorporated, and they made all these sub corporations. All the governments had to basically that join the United Nations had to have a corporation join, right? And so there was, a president of this overall system, right? And they were telling everyone, we're doing this through benevolent purposes for the prosperity of the people. But in reality, they were looking at enslavement and all this. So now there was the whole structure was set up, and they have this evil intent. And they're moving forward. They're ready to now go from the shadows into an open dictatorship, not in just a single country, but around the world, in 180 countries or whatever that the total number is. And they're literally have their people in place. And guess what? There's opposition to this around the world. And of course, they're not going to show it to you because they own the media. But there is opposition around the world to it. And most of the other countries don't even understand the pieces that come together. They're oblivious to the understanding. They just think it's the group of nations that come together and talk about things. They can't imagine the UN's kind of now become a military force that's going to take over the world. But now we have, a new CEO of the whole thing, Kim. Come in and said, okay, we're not doing this anymore. We're now going to now give all of these assets back to the people and to the countries, not the corporation countries, but the countries. And the whole system and apparatus is now going, No, we've got our plans. We're doing this. We've been promised all this wealth. We've been promised power. We've been promised all, and we're doing it. And so, so now what we're witnessing this takeover, the corporate takeover from a new corporate raider coming in, Kim, and taking over and basically changing it level by level by level because it's set up in a level by level system. And Trump is down at what level is he down?
He's 23 or 18.
Yeah,
I forget.
23 levels down, 18, whatever. It's way down there. So she's made it down down to this far in certain parts, and a little bit further down over here, a little less over here. But you still have the same people in place, in power, the same group structure that are, acting like they did the day before, and the day before that, and the day before that. And they just think the rest of it is a nuisance and that they're going to win. What are they winning? Domination of the planet. Right? That's the game. They're looking to dominate the entire planet. And everyone that's still asleep to this, whether you're in a jungle in the middle of the Brazilian jungle or in the Philippines jungle, a little island somewhere, or you're in Switzerland in Basel, and as people there, and they're also in disbelief of this thing that's happening. And they were saying, well, look at all this immigration that we're coming in. Oh, well, we don't want that immigration. So they turn off the immigration into Switzerland, right? Because they had, this flood of people coming and changing their culture. They didn't want that. So, this is the world is waking up. So part of taking action right now is really just recognizing that there is a worldwide play being made right now to put the whole world under a new world order. Whether or not they're in control of the very top position anymore or control of all the money. They have the levers of power that they're pulling back and forth and trying to exercise that. But they are being fought and they are losing. But doesn't mean they're not going to have some wins along the way. But it seems like they are losing everywhere. But they're still going to try and move forward because that is what they know and that's their plan. And they don't also want to play the consequences of being bad actors. So take your action. Right. So we're talking about an app that allows us to go in and have authority, because we were deputized. It's a wonderful idea, right? And there's no no violence in this, right? It's not about being violent. This is about notification. We're notifying you that we're aware of the situation, even if you're not, and that you're not acting properly.
Yes. Yep. And, and we're putting it out publicly as well, right? For like I already have developers. I talked to today to told me it's not even a big deal, but you know what? If another developer wants to take it and make that happen, hey, go for it. Go for it, because I'm not doing this to try to get rich. I'm doing it because we got to protect the people. We've got to find ways, nonviolent, peaceful ways to stand up and own our rights. We have to find ways to do that. And if we don't do that, then we don't deserve to be free. At the end of the day, we have to find that peace.
Yeah.
And get there.
Yeah. So I'm thinking that we're going to have a lot of people joining in, to participate, and do and offer what they can. Like you just said, programmers. Programmers are very much needed, to help with these type of things. I could use a video editor. I don't have time, to get through the video editing. I was thinking, it's like I'm having trouble naming them, right? Because we're covering so many topics. And even the topic, which I think we're going to have the next day, doesn't happen. So I think we need to, have a common name. Like Thomas says, the truth, honor, and integrity show. So we need to have maybe a common name and then break it down after that into small segments about what it's about. It's a good model. I really, so that's how I got introduced to Thomas, anyways, through the Lucid Dreamer. But now, he's has it on his Truth, Honor, Integrity channel, Thomas Williams channel. So we have to evolve and work together. So anyway, any volunteers out there that are good at doing some video editing, please contact me. My Telegram information is down below. I can even pay you in cryptocurrency. And get you involved in the Kringle Society and build up the war chest for that.
Absolutely. So we gotta keep moving. So
Tui is on.
Hey Tui, good.
He's
Hey, Tank.
92 years.
Hey, Dan.
What's up, man?
How are you guys?
We're doing good. How's it going there? Have you taken your waterfall shower?
Yeah. Sorry about yesterday. We had a you can see Kevin there. He's enjoying a conversation with some of the elders, and he's sharing his the reason why he's here, and everyone understands, and everyone is fully getting to know him and actually know his story. I know he's been talking with the Tank about it, and I know to be able to actually see him here and share it in front of everyone.
I haven't seen much sun in New York because his white meat are so blaringly white, like mine used to be.
Yeah, he's from Chicago. It's even worse in Chicago.
So Chicago. Okay. Yeah. So
Yeah.
So Tui,
He's enjoying a lot of. Yes.
What's the status of your
letter
of your documents? Did you get your the
Yes.
chief to sign?
Yes. So yesterday was our the ceremony. That's why we couldn't. I couldn't come on the show. It was a tradition. Yeah.
That's a good reason.
That's important.
Yes. There was a lot of people here, almost more than 500 people that was here, and they come from all over the country to come and witness the signing and the signing of the two letters. And we're very thankful for Kevin. He's here witnessing on that day, and he's come all the way from the other side of the planet to come and witness our the signatures and signing. And they did a welcoming a ceremony for him, and so we put it all on video, and he was in tears because I didn't expect to be received, accepted, and loved the same way. And after that, he's basically one with everyone. And today we came back, and now they actually talking again, and he's sharing his stories and what he's been facing and what the people of the United States have been facing. Because the chiefs here, we understand, and we've been actually just been studying about the system of the world and how the enslavement system that has been happening for the past thousands of years and how it's affected everyone there. And to be able to have someone here who has actually been through physically and actually gone through the system and actually survived, it's they count it as a blessing to have him. And because of his experience he was sharing, everyone could actually fully understand the magnitude of what's happening in the world. And together they can actually understand what's happening now in our government, our economic system here in Fiji, and through the economic crisis that we're facing right now. The same thing that's happening all over the Pacific. The liquidity crisis that the banks are facing, and they're Fijian coming from overseas because of what they've heard about what the effect that we've been sharing for the past 8 months, and now it's actually coming into fruition. And I guess that's why we signed the document yesterday. I'll be sending it shortly to you, Tank. I'll keep the originals with me until someone comes physically in time to be able to receive and actually physically exchange the sovereignty in the future. And so the documents have been signed, has been kept, has been scanned, and we're just waiting for today. I'll go down and send it through to you with just explanation on the structure of how the Fijian chiefs, for example, the title, the names, and what it represents in our culture. And I'm thankful. There was a friend of mine that I got introduced to a few days ago. Her name was Judy, and Judy actually showed me some videos about the chiefs in Hawaii, and we will soon be talking with the chiefs in Hawaii to be able to do the same thing. Then we'll reach out to the rest of the Pacific, to the Maoris in New Zealand, to the to the Solomon Islands, to the Vanuatu, to the Kanaki in New Caledonia, to the Tongans, to the Samoans. We'll all be doing that because we'll be using the native structure of the 12 tribes, and it will be so easy for us to just communicate with each other because we have a different understanding and on a different on a way that like a family that we have, and that connection is quite strong, and we understand each other, and we know what's happening and our role in this new change. And so yeah, it's a really wonderful time for us. People were happy yesterday. I was telling Kevin that they might be thinking that we are going to the waterfall, but we're doing this. We are here in a very important time, in a very point in the history of my country, because for thousands of years we've been waiting for this to happen, and nobody really knows how it's gonna happen, or when it's gonna come out, or when it's gonna come, come into fruition. But now that we're here, I'm glad that everyone is aware, everyone is awake, and everyone is ready to actually take up their role. And so, as soon as I'm sending to you, I will be sending it to you, Tank, shortly. And yeah, it will be like an honor if you pass it up to Kim, and and then we can move forward from there, depending on how soon you are able to move forward with the process. And so I'm very thankful for you guys today, for the show today. Sorry we couldn't make it yesterday, but we had some videos for the signing and all that, because we want, just like how I want everything to be transparent and everyone to be involved on their freedom, because I don't want it to be like the way it used to be before, where just a few people just in secret trying to create something, and the rest of the people that are affected do not know what's going on. And so that's how we end up here in the first place. And so that's how we're going to try and create this change. We'll create with everyone's involvement, and because everyone, we know deeply inside that everyone has a that's alive right now, has a role to play in this new change. And that's why I'm thankful, and I'm thankful for the opportunity today. Thank you to you, Dan. I've been listening to the show from the beginning, for some of the parts that you guys been discussing. Yeah, thank you so much. I was looking forward to the discussion yesterday. I just heard that maybe the lady that was supposed to talk on behalf of their family may have thought that like maybe they needed a little bit more time. Yeah, but I'm like I said on the last time I spoke. Um, it's time for the awareness um, to be awoken within the people, and then it's time for them to realize the sovereignty within them is not weak. Is the most powerful thing they have. If whatever they know, whatever they heard, is actually controlling them, or making them weak, or creating fear within them, then this is a lesson of sovereignty that people have to learn. They have to learn that even all the knowledge that they have within them, however they want to calculate the reality or the history that they think they know, all the truth that they think is truth, and all the negative or the positive things they think is all this value comes from within. And to be able to be sovereign, they have to realize that that value comes from within them, and they are free to actually do anything. But if this value controls them, then that's the lesson of sovereignty that everyone have to learn. And to be able to regain that, it's one of the most powerful lessons that everyone has to learn. And so I'm just here just to just to speak it and put it into words, so that people can actually be control or be in control of what they say, what they think, and what they, and because this is what the reality really is. So if people are just concentrating on the negative, or even talking about it, or giving energies to it, they will always be in that state of awareness, and they will always be in that past. And if they can change within them, then they will automatically be in the future, because that's what the awareness is. It's the time is created by the awareness. And so if you want the future, you have to create the awareness of the future. And so yeah, so to be able to accelerate that, that's why I'm here, actually giving my time to try and talk and just talk about it, so that the people and the way they listen to me, or the way they hear it from me, would be able to help them fully understand, and try to actually guide people to recreate this new future in a way that they won't be, in a way that is clear, that they're the one actually controlling everything. And so, like we've been talking about sovereignty for a long time, and this is just a summary of what sovereignty really is. And like I said the other day, we are in this future that we can create this love easily. I know you guys are discussing a lot of things that is happening in our country, and that's the lesson that everyone there, 370 something million people in the US, that's the lesson that collectively has to be learned. And depending on that lesson, or when it will be learned, that's the time that you will create within you. And so I'm thankful for today, and that's just a little bit part of me, for a little bit on sovereignty that I would like to discuss today. Yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you, Chewy. I just want to add, I read your letters. They're excellent. Appreciate you sharing them with me. I saw that you sent a video. What is the video about?
Oh, it's just a video about Kevin and his discussion about the law of the seas, and the different structures, the corporate structures that they have there in the States, and how he was able to experience, and how he's able to do certain things with the courts, and and he ended up almost going to Brussels to try and sort out uh, some of the queries, or some of the things about money that he was going to. And then and he said that Tank actually tried to maybe just let him know that maybe it's not a good idea to actually go right there. And so he was telling everyone that I've been through everything, and I'm here, and I'm and he's coming here to learn all these things and all the lessons about sovereignty and respect of one another, no matter what character or whatever the values that you have within you, or whatever, and however you create yourself or however you carry out yourself. These are all different aspects, different characteristics that everyone in the world is so special because they're so unique. And this is how, in the future, environments have to be created that this does not, does not create value or put a certain value on people, on how different they are, on how they think and how they are within them. Because these are all DNA agreements that the soul has agreed on. And there'll come a time people will be able to learn to accept everyone, however different they may be.
Yeah. So I think that the issues of say again. Hank, did you add something or?
No, I didn't add anything. Just
okay. I heard something, an interruption. So, well, actually, let me ask Tui, is it okay for us to share the video, or is it something that we shouldn't do? I haven't seen it yet, so. Tui. Maybe Tui's not there anymore. Well, I won't share it then.
Sorry. Yes, share it, please.
Okay.
It's okay. I muted myself and I was talking while I was muted. Yeah, so sorry about that.
It's okay.
Yeah, you can share it. Yeah.
Let me go ahead and keep it up. No, I know. You want to start. Oh, it's a very short video.
Yes. Yes, it's a very short video.
3 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay. Well, there's Kevin. All right.
Yes, okay. Kevin is such a blessing.
I thought we
would very tempted.
have a conversation with Kevin about all of these things you described that he was talking about. So.
Yeah, he can come. Kevin, would you like to say something on the show? Here he is. He's trying to explain some things that.
Blessings to all.
Hello, Kevin.
Greetings to Dan, Tank, Bula, Vanaka, to everyone out there.
To you too.
I can't thank you guys enough for everything. I wish that I could. It's hard to put into words what everything that is going on and being experienced. We're changing time right now, making the impact that is like. I'm sorry for being speechless, but this is really a speechless time. It is very moving. It is very spiritual. It is a new day.
How much have you learned?
Learning about everything, learning about just what it's all about, the spiritual side of it, making the commitment, coming together as one so that we can have standing for sovereignty for everyone, and not just, this is just the start. This is the beginning. It's incredibly hard to put words on something that is so magnificent, so first time for being here. Yesterday was awesome because the signing of the letter, the ceremony that was going on, again, it is so hard to put into words when normally, you guys know me, I don't stop talking about everything. I feel bad because I'm taking up time on the air without speaking, but it's just that moving and that powerful. The ceremony, the welcoming, they brought me in. I feel like I'm family now. I was welcomed with such open arms, such love, to the point where it's like I'm supposed to be here, supposed to be witnessing this, so that way this can go forward. This is about here, now. not 2 weeks, not a month, not 6 months from now, not 6 years. This is about right here, right now. It's happening. That's why I'm actually here. It's got nothing to do with Kevin. It's got to do with the collective. It's got to do with each and every one of us having to step up, play our part, take our sovereignty as serious as our living breath, and exchange it amongst each other, because it is not granted through oneself. It is granted through all of us, through each other, through acknowledgement of understanding, and through realizing what true sovereignty is. It's not, once you have it, you don't fight no more. You are at peace with yourself, and then you find the one that you can have acknowledgement with that sovereignty with, so that way the acknowledgement is done between the two, so that peace is amongst the both of you. And then it grows from there and continues on, and until we get everyone on the planet sovereign through peace, through love, through unity, through the collection, coming together. People need to start to understand that this isn't about a chat. This isn't about putting in your 2 cents or your little input. This is about taking the commitment on to become sovereign and understand that everyone else is going to be sovereign, and you need to recognize their sovereignty if you want yours recognized. And if you come to that understanding, peace comes within you, and you are able to get the sovereignty to those that are around you as much as they are going to give it to you. We have to stand strong, stand in honor, not waver at all, and come together in the collective, so that way we can actually move the collective forward. Because when we do not do what is right and in our hearts, we're slowing this down. People need to step up and realize that this is much more than a GCR, than a money thing, than an RV. There isn't. It's sovereignty of the mind, the heart, and the soul to be free. And you have to share that, because if you are the only one sovereign, you are not sovereign. The only way to become sovereign is if we all become sovereign. We all have to do this as the collective. So for those of us that are on the show, you are here because you already do have the understanding. Step up to the challenge of accepting that sovereignty, so that we may do this together as sovereigns, so that we may drive the collective closer to our destination of a true sovereign world. We have to do this so that way each and every one of us realizes the power that is within them. We are all great. We are all amazing. So if we could just get to the point where we could each accept one another, step up to the challenge, and let's do this. It's time. It's here. It's now. Love you guys. Bula Vanaka.
It seems like you found your voice.
I know. Well done. Well done.
Yeah. Well, you kind of put me on the spot for a second.
Yeah, that's okay. It's okay. This is a peace movement, right? And so when we're looking at things, it's not about being violent. Though, if you're forced into a position of defending yourself, then violence occurs. So, but we want to do things in peace. Declaring peace in a world that is at constant state of war, because the system of setting up war is continually dividing people, dividing resources, dividing cultures, dividing everything you can think of. The whole system about division. So we need to come together in peace.
When I came here, and you guys both know this, and everyone else out there, that I was charged as a warrior. I spoke like a warrior. I'm going to defend. I'm going to fight. Tank calls me the lion. I am not a warrior. I'm now a warrior of peace.
Peace warrior.
Yes.
Well, that's a good thing to put on the badge, Tank.
I now anoint him Simba. He is now the Peace Warrior Lion.
Is that because he's so white?
Yes, he is the White Lion, like the rock band.
Kimba the White Lion when I was a kid. That cartoon.
Yeah, perfect.
Love you guys.
I love you too.
I'm gonna give you back to Chewy. I gotta get back to spending time with the elders.
Okay.
Thank
Show
you.
off.
Blessings. Talk soon. Love you, Jay.
Thank you, Kevin.
Yeah, I'll keep doing the work. Enjoy yourself.
Well, he's working. What do you mean? He's being an ambassador.
Yes, he is.
Yes, indeed.
We're listening to background noise now. Okay, so
Sorry.
it's okay. No problem.
That's okay. The baby's
Every time I hear that little girl say "uh-oh," I'm thinking of that old video game called Lemmings. I don't know if you remember. It was by Blizzard.
Yeah, we're actually blessed by the presence of all the young children around. The other future of this great change that we have, and to be able to be part of it, even though they don't fully understand what's actually happening and the changes that's actually taking place on the planet through awareness. But spiritually, I know they are involved, and the other one that's the impact just being here, living among us, and growing up, the impact, the change that the future has. And I know you guys, have a full understanding on that. You have your families, your tank, you have your children, and they are the source of joy and the source of love within your families. And all these creates, probability of love and joy for the future. And and we we use this as the source of our of what can motivate us to actually do these things that we're doing, and to be able to prepare a future for them. And I'm thankful for all their presence. And every time will be, if you hear me, there will be always be young children around, and it's because I'm connected to them somehow. And they'll just see me, and the parents will go. They've never done this. They've never, they don't. Everywhere I go, they come in, they look at me, and I always tell the parents, no, it's just that we have the same soul agreement, and they are here to change the planet. And what my role is just to prepare an environment for them to actually do that fully. And so, I'm blessed. Everywhere I go, even around Fiji, they come up to me, even though they have never met me. And they'll be small babies. They'll be 7 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old. There's something that the spirit within them just we can actually connect, and I can sense their awareness, and I can sense that they know who I am. And that's why that girl is actually communicating to me while I'm talking, because she was trying to get my attention, and then I have to do that back to her, and then she would actually be, she would be happy. And it's not just the kids, like I was telling you guys today. It's also the animals and even the plants, and so I'm thankful. I'm actually thankful for everything that happened. Kevin coming over and being able to witness that, video it, and it's gonna carry that weight of what the future of my country means, of what the changes that we are doing right now, and what it means for the future, and not just my country, to the rest of my tribal families around the Pacific, and then Eventually, if it will reach the rest of the world, then it will work in that way. And so, yeah, I'm I'm lost of words. I'm always thankful. And I want first. I forgot to actually thank everyone on the chat room and everyone that's watching on and on live. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for being here at this moment and being one and listening in. And thank you so much for being here. You being here, it gives us the power, the energy to actually recorrect or reconstruct or even create a new future. And so wherever you are in the world, peace and love and blessing from us here in Fiji. And may the eternal Creator that is within all of us, may He bless us all.
Thank you, Tui, and it's always a blessing to have you on, and it's great that Kevin made it there. We're all doing what we can to move us forward. Thank you again, and thanks to the little girl that's coming on and saying something good energy.
What did you say?
Yeah, thank you.
I love
Yeah.
it. Hey, so Tui, is it a big is the I mean I know the tribes and the government there and the everyone is the everyone's been waiting on this agreement and everyone's in agreement too, like even at the government level and even the
Yes.
Indo-Fijians.
Yes. And so the role is there are a lot of people that are unaware of it, and we have our the as part of our first project of what the awareness is, what we talked about a few days ago. About they're also waiting for it, but they don't know right now when it's going to happen or how it's going to happen. And so there's a group of us here, almost more than 1,000 people, and 7,000 registered members that it's who are part of this cooperative. The cooperative is named Fijians Helping Fiji, and it was formed for this particular reason in 2015. And so there are 7,000 of us, the members of the people, not governments, just the people, just everyone all over the different country from different chiefs from different tribes all over the country, and they are members to these Fijians Helping Fiji. They actually do this because they know that it's going to come sometimes in the future from 2015. And so when now that it comes, and then it will be our role to actually uh, um, uh, uh, what can I say, create awareness within the Indo Fijian culture, within the Chinese Fijian cultures, the other cultures that are here, the Rutumans, who are considered a Fijian Polynesian group that are here in Fiji, something like the Tongans or Samoan or the Maori, or some same family as the same tribe as the Hawaiian people and the Maori people. They are here in Fiji. They have an island called Rotuma, and so they are also waiting for this. We have taken it upon ourselves as the main chief of the main island, of the big island here. It's called Vitilevu. The chiefs here in this main island, they will make it their um, sole purpose to be able to let everyone know traditionally, physically, and take it to every single district. And there will be a great celebration that is part of it. Everyone will be celebrating the return of what we call the mana. And to mana means power and magic, or love and truth, and life force that is within us. This is what mana means in our language, and it's the same meaning to the rest of the Pacific. If you come to Hawaii, you will understand what mana means. If you come um, to the rest of to New Zealand, you will understand what mana means. If you come to the Aboriginal culture in Australia, you'll understand what mana means. It's the same. It's just the word that we use for eternal source of creation that's within everyone. That is the most powerful thing. That was and part of our legend. It was given away. It was taken away from us so that we can become humans. If we have it, we will never become humans. We'll always be in a spiritual higher, what would you call, in not in here physically. So to be able to have this, to be able to have this physical experience, we have to take the mana away and be separated from it. And so now that it's returning, and it's returning to the whole planet, and that's so it's just like I said, it was our past, which is also our future. We just left it and become humans, and now we are gaining it back to become what you would call, go back to become more. We live longer, we'll create more. And so this change is inevitable. It has been part of the agreement. It has been part of the awareness of the internal, not just here in this planet Earth, but the different probabilities of planet. I call them probabilities because there are different probabilities that we'll be able to fix in the future, which is what we will say in a physical way. We will call them Mars, Jupiter, and all the rest of the planets. And it will have to start from here, and then it will grow up. We'll have to go and correct all these different frequencies of realities, and then we'll be able to unite the whole entire solar system. Even though this might be in the future, a very long time in the future, but that's what the plan is. And so sometimes I will talk out of I will speak out of just normal everyday awareness, and I will speak about sometimes about the future, so that every single one of us, we fully understand it within us, because it's part of the DNA, and it's part of the reason why everyone here is on Earth, to be able to what normally they say about how frequency has to change. And so it's not going to be done only on over here on this planet. It's going to be done to the rest of these probabilities, and all the galactics are fully aware of it, because they are also part of our future, and they are just us from a different probability of the future. And sometimes they come and try and manipulate us to their probability, but then there are other agreements that we have to try and create a new one, and to be able to be sovereign. If they come and try and manipulate it, then we won't be sovereign. We won't. We'll always rely on their power and all that. And so this is part of the agreement of our collective, the Ra collective mind. From the first day that I talked about the Ra collective mind, talked about how this family entity, we are just one family, got separated into two, you would call frequencies, the feminine and the masculine, as to be able to actually form this experience, which is just the reality and the creation. So it's all just illusions and experiences. And so in the future, we'll be able to gather that awareness again, and we'll be able to recreate it, and we'll be able to choose whatever future we can. But we'll have to first realize who we are, and first realize how our body works, how our awareness works, and first recreate the awareness with it, and we'll be able to do anything. And if you want, when we'll be one with the planet, we can choose whatever problem. We can move the planet anywhere we want, whatever timeline we want to move it. And so this is I'm talking about something that's a little bit far ahead from us, but there are lessons that we have to learn in the now moment, that every one of us individually, as a group, as a tribe, as a nation, we'll have to try and learn this. And so however you've learned it, however you've gone through it, if you have learned and you've understood, then you in space time, you're a little bit ahead on the future. But if you learn it and you still think that there's still much to be learned, then you've created that own our timeline, because of the awareness that has been formed. And so you will have to fully learn the lesson, and you'll be able to move forward. And so this is why you will hear me talk about all these illusions that have to be revalued from a very unjudgmental point of view, point of awareness that is pure within everyone. If everything is valued and hold to a belief and through faith, then they will be stuck on that timeline. They will be stuck on that on those illusions, and they will the future that they will try to create will never be the future that is meant for for them to be free and sovereign, because everything they've been holding on to their life is still sovereign within them. And so this is a lesson that everyone have to learn. And I know that like people, there's a lot of the team, and I'm thankful for the team. I'm thankful for Thomas Williams and all the people, the team, and the people there in front, in the forefront of this war. And one day they will realize this, and they will realize that you, as soon as you give energies to these things, you have to be able to be pure and to be able to never let anything outside of you affect you. Even if they are happening, if all the negative things are happening, you will always express love towards it, and you'll never try and value it in a way that you give into it. Then you get angry, and that's how people will get stuck on this illusion. And so the important lesson there is the awareness of the self. It's I try to actually speak about and how people have to learn how the awareness within you values and actually the perception values the perception that your senses give you, and how you have to learn to control them. I'm happy that Dan Tank was talking about building gyms, teaching people self-defense, martial arts. These are all ways that people actually can learn to create oneness within the spiritual self within them and the physical self outside of them, and they will be able to learn to be sovereign just by learning how to control and fully control what they think, thought, and the intention. And yeah, it's a very big lesson that every single person or every single marama kinaturang will have to learn, because this is what it really means for them to be sovereign, to be truly be the creator and not being affected by what they are creating. And by then they will be able to learn that even time and that if they are creating, and they will be able to recreate what they want, whatever they want in the future, and even whatever that is in the past from them. And so that's what what I was trying to say for the past few weeks. It's the most powerful thing in the universe, the awareness within you, or the essence of life that's shared amongst everyone. This is the life force that is within you. And I know the trust understand this, and this is the only thing that has, in a sense, because I'm physically saying, has value, but truly it doesn't have value. It is everything. It gives value to everything. And with those words of encouragement, I just wanted to thank you again. Thank you so much. Thank you for every awareness or every spiritual energy that is listening in today. And I truly think and look within you in your spiritual eye and fully understand that you are the most powerful being, and you created every single thing that is around, and all of us created everything here together. And if we want a new future, we have to create it together. If you don't work together, then the future will always be in chaos. And so we understand this as chiefs, and that's why we are writing that letter up, and we're putting our intent into it, and the intent of not just us, intent of our ancestors that has gone past thousands of generations in the past, and the intent of our children that are not born yet, thousands of generations, millions of generations in the future. And this intention have been created and been put and has been given and put on the letter. And there was a ceremony that happened yesterday, and I'm thankful for that. And so yeah, so just to answer that question that Tank was asking, the letter is coming very soon. It's already been completed, and we'll send it. And I know at the right time, at the right moment, it will reach you, and then it will reach Kim, and it will work together for how everything is working together on the planet. And if everyone can do that from everywhere they are, they should be able to take the initiative to do it on their own and do the same thing. because the only way we can move and create a new future is together, in unity and love. And so, I think I've said enough, and I'm thankful for everyone and everything. Thankful for you, Dan, and Tech, for the for the chance and the opportunity to actually talk and share. And yeah, there's not anything else I can say, but just being thankful.
Well, thank you, Toy. I'm glad you found your voice.
Indeed, thank you.
So, all right. Well, it's wonderful to hear this because I mean, while I'm listening to Toy, I'm getting these flashes of things. I got notes, so there's a lot we need to do, and we're going to you know, take it on ourselves and take these steps, so that we can make so that we can have our own. I went ahead and I'm muted Tui's line. So, well,
Yes, yes, yes. Mute it, please.
I did already. So, well, see, they both found their voice, after getting into the flow of what we're doing, right? So it does take a lot of effort to for us to come together and talk, all right? Because we're all caught up in our own things that we're doing throughout the day. Even those that are watching us right now, or basically have us tuned in, and they're going about their daily lives, and they're listening to what we have to say, but they're engaged. So when we ask people to, hey, if you have any questions, you want to come on and talk, we get silence, and it's not because they don't have anything to say, but it's because it takes a lot of our effort to engage, right? When I'm doing these daily broadcasts, I actually take a nap afterwards, and I normally don't take an afternoon nap. So because it does take a lot of energy to go ahead and engage and do what we're doing, because we're affecting so many people. It's spreading out so far that we have 3,000 or 4,000 people that will see these videos, right, within the next 2 days. And maybe that's just what YouTube says. Who knows how many are actually seeing them? Uh, how far we're breaking through, But this is why we ask for you to go ahead and share these and have people look at them, and then please subscribe and give likes and comment, because all of these small things build and expand our energy. So that's part of this, being our, I don't know if you want to call them peace warriors, but being part of what we're doing here is we need to express this and get this information out. We make a very big positive change when these things happen. So, go ahead.
Exciting times, man. Exciting times. I'm really happy that they were able to get the to have that celebration, and I'm really happy that Kevin was there to witness it. Um,
Yeah, the thing that I took notes on while he was speaking, it just struck me, were just some of the steps that are needed for countries to accept funding, right, and how and what needs to take place, and that also includes when they're in the position for their chiefs to basically impose their will in the government. Well,
it's very unique, right?
Very unique. But it also, the next step after that is to nationalize the central bank. Right?
Yes.
If the money is going to be flowing in, it has to go into one that's owned by the country of the Fijian people, not the incorporated entity. Right? So when you establish yourself and you're a sovereign country, not Inc. under the United Nations, that you now nationalize that central bank. So now you have your own central bank that you can now accept the money from the trust.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Simple.
It's simple. It's just but these are sometimes things is, oh, we're sovereign now. Okay, give me the money. Well, it's that structure that's already been placed around the world that has been slowly and creeping in. Now they're in a fever pitch to try and exercise their jackboot authority, right? And stop people from being able to function, as individuals, and put them under, a worldwide dictatorship. This is, what is happening and is being fought against, and we are winning. But it doesn't mean that there aren't battles, and there are shots fired. There are fake shots fired with false flags that are stage events just to get things going. Again, stage events. They're not actually. There's people that are not actually dying, and but there are others that are. It's the ones that where they really are dying are those are like they'll have multiple shooters in place because the guy that they've set up to take the fall, right, may not go through with it, right, because he's being mentally created a situation where he might even think he's in a dream to react and to fire. But he might be aware enough to say, well, I'm not going to do this. But it doesn't matter because they have other shooters that are going to actually, perform the act, and then he is going to take the fall for it. So, but these things that they've set up around the world for these control mechanisms are being expended. It's like why QAnon will give like a deadline, and there's a countdown, and it gets them to use their ammunition, right? And they can, and now the ammunition that they're firing is, these are storylines, right? They have people that are going to take the fall, but again, like in New Zealand, was there actually people dying? I can question that. Now, there may have been people that died. There may have been, but
that does, yeah, because a false flag does not mean that no one died.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it doesn't mean that at all. It just means that they've created the event to shift the people's attention to something else on a topic that is one of their goals is remove remove people's ability to defend themselves. Remove the ability for people to uprise against them, especially like when they the part of their plan is removing food and water from your ability to have any. That's why they've made having gardens illegal.
Yeah, well,
so you can't have a garden. Does that make, when people hear that, they say, "Oh, that can't be true." Denial, right? But will they take action to go look it up? No, they don't. They just say, "Well, it would be on TV."
Oh, I know. People's one of it's one of the most common excuses I hear. Like, what do you mean this would be on the news? Like, yeah, because the news is reliable.
So most people are now don't believe the news. So what I think I was listening to some of this, like now CNN lost 50% of its audience on this one, or someone Rachel Maddow lost like 20% overnight of her audience because people were being lied to, right? And as they wake up, that those people are not going back. If they just stopped watching, they're not going back there. It's now the other people may take another few days or a week, but they're losing. We have Adam Schiff is now having to face that everyone is telling him to resign from Congress, not just the chairmanship of the Intelligence Committee, right? Resign. Right. Yeah, you're a bad actor. Get out of here. And that, I like now I'm realizing like say bad actors. I mean, these are all part of the crisis actors, right? They just have an extended cast that goes to Senate and Congress and judicial, and so on, because they're just acting their part. They get their script at 3 a.m. It literally arrives, and they read it, and these are the things that they say that day. They're just robots, you know. I mean, they guess they might as well be clones, with blank slates that they just go ahead and have them read the topics of the of the day.
Right.
They're just gonna spew it out.
Oh, man, that's a tragedy. Well, hey, you know what? Like you said, the good guys are winning. Fiji is having festivals where create change is represented on the other side of the planet right now. We sent our token white guy down there. I think that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And
you know, I said that I had someone that was talking with the people in the Cook Islands, and that he sent me back a message about his contacts in Hawaii, and it was a very odd thing. I'll just go ahead and read it because it's so far outside of where we've been discussing things that it just doesn't make sense, you know.
Hey, Dan.
Hello.
Hello, Dan.
Yes.
Sorry. Would you wanna like read out the letter that I sent you, the sovereignty letter? If
I could, yes, I could go through that. I didn't know if that would be something that would be appropriate, but that's fine. I don't know until it's, you know, received on both sides, but it's okay with me if you think that's the right thing to do.
I think it's
no,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll be glad to do that. Anyway, let me read this first. You know, and this is from Nate, my friend. He said, let's see. He said that the majority of the Hawaiian sovereignty leaders are also strong Democrats, and that they don't like Trump. She said that she could tell that both of you and Tank favors Republicans, and that this would be a big turnoff for them. What they think what I think we should do is also suggest that we have a summit here in Vegas of all Hawaiian sovereignty leaders. Anyway, there's more said, but I won't go into the rest of that. But I responded. I said, "Well, when I met with Uncle Bumpy, right? He did not ask if I liked Trump or not." Right, Bumpy with the nation of Hawaii, and then the other group, the only lawful government of Hawaii, accepted me and my friends without seeing how we were divided into sides. Right.
Yep.
So, you know, I can understand, you know, that people have this division, you know, of the two sides, and their mindset is on one side or another. But in the Hawaiian sovereignty movement, you're taking a side between a Democrat and a Republican in the system that has enslaved you. That doesn't make any sense. You know,
Well,
you need to
also,
stand on your own and not divide up people into these sections. Now, listen, as I said, I don't. Whatever sliver of there's many sovereignty movements in Hawaii. I would just suggest to them that, you know, don't look at. I'm not looking at Republicans and Democrats. I'm looking at. You know, some people said that back way back when Trump was a Democrat. You know, that might have been true. You know, but it's not. You know, he's taking a position of solving issues in the world, and what side is trying to really solve problems is really the side of the white hats, if you want to label sides, and they're Democrats and Republicans. Just because, you know, there is this movement that's out there, we're defeating the cabal, and they happen to be both sides, Democrats and Republicans. But there is now, I see that Trump is at a spear point of moving forward, and there's going to clear out both sides of this, all sides of this, of the people that are hurting our children, that are
Yeah.
that are
Can we
causing
just agree on
problems
that?
in you. Right? And focus on that. Yeah, that's what we should focus on. And if you want to pick a side, that's the side to be on. Beyond that, it's just politics of controlling the mindset to get people to go one direction or the other.
Well, wait, Paul. I mean, Dan. Who is he referring to that she said? This is your friend? Is the woman or?
No, he's a guy, but I don't know who she was referring to in which group. But it's supposedly one of the descendants of King Kamehameha, and I know you also have some contacts in with that.
Yeah, and I speak to Queen Grace. I mean, like I could call her right now, and she's lovely, and we get along just fine.
Yeah.
And so, and as far as anybody saying that, like we don't like whoever that person is. If that's your version of what it means to be sovereign, that is so small and ignorant. You're a sovereign nation. What do you care about what the United States does as a Republican Democratic Party? Why would that matter?
Yeah.
You have one movement that is dedicated to that, because I'm neither. I could care less. Matter of fact, we're setting up our own political party. It's the People's Party, People's Sovereign People's. I'm working on the name. But we're gonna have one.
You're gonna get into a problem any which way you go on that. So
yeah, and I'll tell you what. And by the way, and on this call, we're representing the only sovereign.
Well, let's.
You can actually give sovereignty, right?
How about this for a name? The Unknown Country Party.
Yeah, might work. I think that's a cabal. I think it's a cabal thing, though. I think the Manna Party might be better.
No, I'm just looking at something that would really like wake up people. What do you mean the unknown country? What does that mean? Unknown country is the one that basically got to say where all the money went.
Well,
so it just opens up.
I think that was the plan. It's the UN.
Yes.
Known country, right? It's the United Nations. So I don't want to be that party.
Yeah. Well, take it over. Take over the name, right? That's what they do. Anyway, I don't think it's the best name either. I was just throwing it out there as kind of like poke fun at it, because literally these are the issues we're faced with. It's good to also to kind of like draw attention to these things, because
I totally agree.
Yeah, if we're trying to change the world, how about the Abundance Party? The one. Conceptually, when we're dealing with all of the issues that are left and right, we have to recognize that they were set up to put us at odds. Both sides have legitimate points. And in fact, if you bring all of their points together, no one would disagree really on most of the major base points. Now, I'm not talking about specific, issues that they want to bring up to really cause division. Right? They create these division points for a reason and get you so locked in, to those topics. The best thing is to do is not engage in them. Would you like to play a game? Would you? This not playing the game is the way to win it. So don't play in that division game. Don't play it. See where we are the same and ignore where we're apart.
And as a public, but seriously, as a public service, this is a very serious public service announcement to any of the Hawaiians listening. If you are aligning with what is happening on the public stage of the Democratic Party with infanticide and the promotion of violence and the constant lies, which are obvious to any discerning individual paying attention, if you are on that part of the whatever sovereign movement that is, whatever that group is, that's aligning with that particular band of hate right now, I would I would say in all likelihood, the people giving you direction are cabal, are part of it. So
Yeah.
I'd be very careful because
In-
they're leading you down a very negative and evil path, and it's obvious to anyone paying attention.
I want to make the point that that exact same description was also available to the Republican side. They had those leaders out there that were supporting the cabal agenda, right? That they would say those things, right, to get the people in a violent way, right? And I'd say McCain would have been one of those main supporters of that line, and that he held his people in place through blackmail, right? And now that side it exists, and it's been somewhat neutered, right? And you just look at the people that opposed the presidential emergency on the wall, the status at the border, and uh, if you see the Democrats, the Republicans that voted against that, Romney being probably one of the leaders on that side. I mean, I'll give Rand Paul a true you know pass on that issue, because he will oppose it on the points that he was stating that he believes it's a infringement on the role of the legislative side. Okay, I can believe he believes that. Everyone else is on the cabal side, and you can identify them and know that they are actually having an agenda of violence, right? An agenda of splitting us up. So that side has been pretty much muted on the side when you're looking at sides. But again, let's not try and divide us up. We can nitpick, ongoing forever and ever, and that's the problem. We need to just stay real focused on where we are the same, and where can and I'm sorry if you think that post-birth abortions are okay, then you are definitely on a side that's if you say, well, you don't agree in general, you wouldn't do it yourself. No, forget that. You're thinking about death being appropriate for a baby. This is outside of really of a line. So we are divided immediately when we go there. You have to recognize the sovereignty of the baby, of life. And
Absolutely.
this is a division of where we're at, and we cannot focus on this as our topic. You want to really believe that in your own, yeah, but don't put it on the rest of the world. The government should have no say in abortions, none. It has to do with the woman and the father and the mother, and then their family. There's nothing to do with your ideas about it.
Yep. Well, I'll tell you, that's kind of thing that it's funny. That kind of information is a plant. It's like there's no question. Like we talk about a variety of topics on 1,000 different ways, and the assumption is that we're actually giving fair, balanced news, and we're reporting all different aspects of it, right? So to say that
Right.
they're skewed towards Trump, why? Why is that the conclusion? The conclusion is because we're putting out all the information, right? And that's not what you're supposed to do, in the cabal. You're supposed to just promote their agenda.
Right.
So, you know what? That being said, I think now would be a great time to read this inspirational letter of sovereignty, and that take us out.
Okay, well that would be a good thing to do. So why don't I'll go ahead and bring it up. Give me a moment here. There's actually two. Let's say two different documents here. One is let's see. Am I? Oh, it's from two different individuals, I guess, to recognize sovereignty. That's what it is.
Yeah. So one is sorry, Dan.
Yes, go ahead.
One is actually representing the people, the flesh and blood, the or in English terms, the human beings, or the people on the on land, and the other is representing the land, the sea, and the spiritual hierarchy that lives. This includes the plants and the animal, the fish in the sea, and all the I would call them the elemental kingdoms of this place of Viti, which is
So pick one that I should read.
you can read any of them because they need each other. The letter is intermingled, which represent the unity of the totality of the Vanuko Viti, which is what it means in a language, the totality of everything, of every living things, the land and the sea.
Okay, I will bring that. I will go ahead and share that now. Give me a moment. Okay. Okay. I believe it says, I think there's some letterhead problem here, but it's all right. I think it's Fijians Helping Fiji Cooperative Limited. All right. The date is the 25th day of March 2019. Acknowledgement of the status of the main sovereign monarch of Earth, Miss Kimberly Ann Gogoin, and the Manna World Holding Trust. Attention, Her Majesty Miss Kimberly Ann Gogoin. The Vanuatu Viti, totality, the people, the land, and the sea, plant and animal kingdom of the land and the sea, and the element kingdoms of Fiji, acknowledges and confirms the following. We, the Vanuatu Viti, with our love and unity, recognize and acknowledge the status of the main sovereign monarch of Earth, Miss Kimberly Ann Gogoin, and the Manna World Holding Trust as having status of main sovereign, and it's a sovereign nation unto itself. I, na sua ki mulevu, sorry for pronunciations, Ratu Saru Foma Tui, Lamoa, Surrey, representing plants, animals of land and sea, and elemental kingdom of Vanuatu Viti, Fiji Islands, hereby acknowledges and recognizes the status of main sovereign monarch of Earth, Miss Kimberly Ann Gogoin. We, the Vanuatu Viti, fully understand the role of Her Majesty, Miss Kimberly Ann Gogoin, and the Manna World Holding Trust have in this great chance that our Mother Earth is going through and will protect if necessary. Will use military force to protect, but never instigate war or infringe upon the main monarch, Miss Kimberly Ann Gogoin, sovereign rights or sovereign right of Manna World Holding Trust. We, the Vanuatu Viti, understand that this great change can only come through love and unity, and we therefore declare our commitment to peace and our honest desire to maintain harmonious, respectful, honorable, immensible, and peaceful relations with Her Majesty Miss Kimberly Ann Gogoin and all of the sovereign people that she is working with. I, Nasui Ki Malu Vu Ratu Saru Foma.
You're nailing it.
Tui Loma Suri, with my fellow high chiefs, Okankaya Narutu, Rutu Mali Versakula, who represent the sovereignty of the people of Fiji. Together we represent the Vanu Kaviti, and with our DNA as our sole witness, do intend to provide support to the main monarch, Miss Kimberly Ann Gogoyan, and the Manna World Holding Trust for the betterment of all. Autographed and acknowledged on this 25th day of March 2019. The Honorable Nasuki Maluvu Ratu Saru Foma Tui Loma Loma Sura of Fiji. There we go. And again, forgive me for any of my butchering of the names, but I will get it in time. I'll get some practice with Tui, and then I'll get them down. So that's fantastic. I found it interesting. The witness by their DNA is witnessed by their DNA is an interesting way of acknowledgement of who is basically acknowledging is themselves in their soul of their DNA.
Yeah.
And also that they're ready to pledge military support.
Yes, indeed. It's amazing.
That is amazing.
You know what? I feel great about that, and I think that's a great sign where we're at. And
yeah, I think we can pick this up tomorrow. We're in our 2.5 hour mark here, so we're good. Let's go ahead and close this off for today. That's a great way to end this one, and we'll pick up with it and talk about more about this tomorrow, and see what does that mean, and how do we move this forward. What's the next nation that is pledging their support? I know you said that there was quite a few that have already spoken up.
well, I don't know if they've been that public though. I mean, I think Fiji might be the only one that's public like this.
Yeah.
I mean, people have accepted money, and called about getting their sovereignty, but I don't know that they've really taken any step like this. That Fiji would in fact be the first to actually step up publicly. That's legit. I mean,
yeah, to do it, from that standpoint, and they are, in every way acknowledging, the sovereignty and basically that they're ready to move. So and bring us into a new abundance-based world. So. Okay, well, let's go ahead and shut this down for today. We'll go ahead and continue tomorrow. I appreciate everyone that has been in the chat room. Thank you for your participation. I know we haven't been reading the chats on the air. Maybe we'll do that tomorrow. Or we can maybe pick a day to focus on that. It does take a bit of time, another half an hour or so to do that. But the chat is available for everyone that's viewing this. It does stay available. I would appreciate anyone that would like to help support our efforts here, or at least my efforts in doing this by partnering with me in the Pringle Cash or joining with me in Abundance Mind. These links are down below. Please contact me through Telegram. We can have a verbal conversation. I did have someone join as a partner yesterday, and we had our conversation. He is deaf, so I can't actually talk to him, verbally. So we're doing everything by, typing out, which takes more time, but that's okay. We go through with this because it's all part about coming together and learning on how do we create an abundance-based world, and that requires us to do things that are outside of what is being considered the normal way of doing things. So this is just a different form of a medium of exchange that is based upon our members and attached to the price of gold. The more members, the higher the value goes, and the price does follow and tends to go up. So thank you, everyone, and please like this, share this, and come back tomorrow.
Awesome. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Chewy. Thanks, everybody.
Peace out.